Permanent representative of Sri Lanka has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the honor of giving me the floor. Deputy Executive Director, the members of the Executive Board, and His Excellencies, distinguished participants. May I take this opportunity of thanking the UNFPA Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific, Mr. Pieris, for the presentation of the UNFPA's 10th Sri Lanka Country Program document for the years 2023 to 2027. We note with pride, Madam Chair, that Sri Lanka's long-standing partnership with UNFPA, and may wish to specifically thank the UNFPA for actively engaging with the government of Sri Lanka in developing the 10th country program, which is aligned with Sri Lanka's national development priorities and the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. Madam Chair, it's no secret that Sri Lanka is experiencing an unprecedented socio-economic crisis since its independence. The country's once robust healthcare system is under severe stress. This has an impact naturally on the delivery of sexual and reproductive health services, including maternal health care and access to contraception. Existing protection mechanisms for women and girls in need, including survivors of violence against women, have also been seriously compromised. A recent study indicates that vulnerability of women and girls to violence is increasing at the same time as services, including health, police services, shelter, and hotlines are becoming less effective due to a lack of financial resources. It is a matter of record that the UNFPA supports programs in more than 144 countries across 4 geographic regions. The mandate, Madam Chair, of the UNFPA, as you are very familiar with, as established by the United Nations Economic and Social Council in 1973 and reaffirmed in 1993. What is fascinating is that it is couched in simple terms, but very pragmatic, particularly Goal 3, which I would recommend perhaps to all mandate holders of the United Nations. Firstly, to build the knowledge and capacity to respond to needs in population and family planning. Secondly, to promote awareness in both developed and developing countries of population problems and possible strategies to deal with these problems. Thirdly, to assist their population problems in the forms and means best suited to the individual country's needs. And now this fascinates me, because the need to be sensitive to the needs of the country is absolutely acute, in my view, for any program to be successful. And finally, to assume a leading role in the United Nations system in promoting population programs and to coordinate projects supported by the fund. We are pleased, Madam Chair, that a financial provision of US $9.6 million has been proposed in your program. Madam Chair, while our world engages with multiple intersecting crises, violent conflicts, many of them perhaps long drawn out, perhaps too long, intensifying droughts, extreme weather inconsequence, climate change progresses unabated. Pandemics threaten humankind globally. Political and economic upheavals after 2 years of COVID in Sri Lanka exacerbates the problem that we face. Sri Lanka has had to face an Easter bombing, followed by the pandemic, which dealt a serious blow to its economy, and has to face now the fallout of the current military conflict in Eastern Europe. More people, we know, than ever before need humanitarian assistance. Over 100 million now live, they say, in forced displacement. 345 million face acute food insecurity. Crisis appears to disproportionately, therefore, affect women and girls, creating chaos, disrupting access to essential sexual and reproductive health services, leading to soaring risks of gender-based violence, HIV infection, unintended pregnancies, and maternal mortality is on the rise. 2/3 of deaths during pregnancy and childbirth occur during humanitarian emergencies or in fragile environments. And too often, humanitarian responses overlook vital needs like antenatal care and skilled childbirth attendance, contraception, and care for survivors of gender-based violence. It is in this unfortunate, I say, man-made environment that Sri Lanka takes cognizance of the UNFPA's CPD which is structured to provide, number one, leadership in the areas of sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights, including maternal health and addressing gender-based violence. Secondly, to strengthen population data. And thirdly, to promote evidence-based policy and decision-making in the areas of population and development. We also appreciate that the CPD is designed with the intention to be flexible, adaptable, and agile to respond to changing and evolving needs and situations of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka also takes cognizance of the fact that the new country program aims to prioritize UNFPA's comparative advantage in providing leadership in strategizing policy and its unique value proposition for stakeholder engagement and the mobilization with public and the private sector. At the International Conference on Population and Development in Cairo in 1994, it is reported that these broad ideas were elaborated to emphasize the gender and human rights dimension of population. The UNFPA was given the lead in helping countries carry out the program of action adopted by 179 governments at the Cairo conference. In 2010, the United Nations General Assembly extended the ICPD beyond 2014, which was originally at the beginning to end. The date was a 20-year program of action. So finally, Madam Chair, on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, may I extend Sri Lanka's strongest commitment and pledge to collaborate with the UNFPA in creating an enabling environment for the successful implementation of the CPD and for the achievement of the contemplated key objectives so that we together can build back better and make sure that no one is left behind. I thank you, Madam Chair.
I thank Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka for his comments.